Hello, wrestling fans, VHS fans, and welcome to NDT Clex Wrestling Plus VHS.
The following segment has been brought to you by NDT Clex Wrestling Plus VHS.
Wrestling fans, VHS fans, today I've got a box full of, guess what? VHS. Now, folks, this box came from a yard sale a while back that I went through, and I totally didn't see these because I didn't stop at one house. But my parents went through, and they stopped at this house, and these was on sale for 50 cents a piece. And they asked them what they take for they had a couple boxes. They said, what do you take for both boxes? And they said, just give them, you can just have them. They want to get rid of them. So I got these two boxes for free. So in this video, we're going to go through one box, and in another video, I'll go through another box. So without further ado, let's get into the next segment and see what's in this first box. Now, as I can see at the top layer here, I've got some of these already. Some of these movies I already have, but we're still going to go through them. Here we go. We have Twister. Twister on VHS. Twister. Next up, we have the Bicentennial Man. Excuse me. With Robin Williams. Bicentennial Man. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah. And then we'll check Twister out here. Next up, we have Exit Wounds. Exit Wounds. Next up, I see a good one. Here we got Gremlins. 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 Good movie, good movie. We have, next, we have, put this over here real quick. I lost that again. We have The Land Before Time. Land Before Time. Part 3. Next up, we have Little Rascals. Little Rascals. Next up, we have The Road Warrior. The Road Warrior. Now, this one I do not have for sure. The Road Warrior. With Mel Gibson. I think it started the Mad Max trilogy or whatever you would call it. The Road Warrior. Next up, we have Bad Girls. Bad Girls. Next up, we have Sylvester Stallone in Blood. First Blood. Little Rambo, First Blood. First Blood. Next up, we have Universal Soldier, The Return. Bill Goldberg, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Next up, we have Home Alone 3. Home Alone 3. Next up, we have U-57-1. I don't think I've ever seen this film. U-57-1. I've got Bill Paxton in it here. Matthew McConaughey. U-57-1. Next up, we have Against All Odds. Against All Odds. Next up, we have Michael J. Fox in Doc Hollywood. Doc Hollywood. Doc Hollywood. Next up, we have Bruce Willis's Die Hard 2. Or Die Hard 2, yeah. Die Hard 2. Next up, we have Bruce Willis in Die Hard. Die Hard. Next up we have Steven Seagal and Out for Justice. Out for Justice. Now that is sealed. Sealed with a watermark. Never been opened. Out for Justice. Next up we have The Hitman with Chuck Norris. The Hitman with Chuck Norris. Next up we have a sealed copy of Jesus. He came through mail. I think these was mailed out at one time. Or you got it with some sort of mail-in. Jesus. Next up we have Arnold in Commando. Commando. Arnold in Commando. Next up we have an all-time great, Predator. Predator with Arnold. Such a great movie. Predator. I like old Predator. Next up we have Lethal Weapon Part 2. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. Lethal Weapon Part 2. Next up we have Congo. Congo. Has anybody seen that movie, Congo? It's been a while since I've seen it. Got Ernie Hudson in it. Good old Congo. Next up we have Chuck Norris in Braddock. If I pronounce that right. Braddock. Look at this. This is called Mission in Action Part 2. Mission in Action Part 2. Huh. I didn't know that was Mission in Action Part 2, Braddock. I think I have these films already. I'm not sure on that. I'll lay it to the side. Like I said, there's a lot of them I already have. The Last Boy Scout with Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis. The Last Boy Scout. Next up we have The Core. The Core. Got a lot of good people in it, looks like here. I don't think I've ever seen The Core. The Core. Next up we have Jake Speed. I never heard of it. Jake Speed. Jake Speed. Jake Speed. Oh, excuse me again. Next up we have John Wayne in Chisholm. I want to say Chisholm. Not sure. Chisholm. Chisholm. Next up we have John Wayne, Katharine Hepburn in Rooster Colburn. Colburn? I don't know if I pronounced that correctly or not. Next up we have Shanghai Noon with Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan. Shanghai Noon. Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan. Next up we have Used Cars. Used Cars. That's a great one. Kurt Russell, Jack Warden. Used Cars. Beware of used car salesmen. Used Cars. That's a good time home video. Next up we have A Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol. George C. Scott. Christmas Carol. Next up we have The Santa Claus. Tim Allen, The Santa Claus. Next up we have A Smoky Mountain Christmas with Dolly Parton. Smoky Mountain Christmas. Good old Dolly. Next up we have some kind of international guitar methods. International guitar methods. But it has no label on it. So we're going to check that out, put that on the side and see actually what that really is. Next up, we have another Steven Seagal in The Patriot. The Patriot. The Patriot. Next up, we have The 13th Floor with Andrew Bandrez. The 13th Floor. The 13th Floor. Next up, we have Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and it is sealed with the Fox label. Sealed Home Alone 2. Next up, we have Sister Act Part 2. Sister Act 2. Sister Act Part 2, Back in the Habit. Next up, we have Black Hawk Down. Black Hawk Down. Black Hawk Down. Black Hawk Down. That's a pretty good movie. Next up, we have Top Gun. Top Gun. Top Gun. Next up, we have, ooh, this is a nice one, old Batman. 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 And as you can see, I don't know if y'all can see that or not, right there it is. It is very, very moldy. Very moldy. That's the only one I've seen out of this box so far. It's got mold in it. So we'll set that to the side. We'll work on that. Don't like mold, or we'll just throw it in the trash. Most likely just throw it in the trash. Anyway, this is, I can fix it, the mold, but it's awful messy to do with. Anyway, I'll probably throw it in the trash, because I already got 2 or 3 copies of Batman. Roy Schneider in Blue Thunder. Blue Thunder. Blue Thunder. Blue Thunder. Next up, we have Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen. Navy SEALs. And that's a red Navy SEALs. Next up, we have Enemy of the State with Will Smith. Enemy of the State with Will Smith. Next up, we have Cheech and Chong's Things Are Tough All Over. Things are tough all over. Things are tough all over. Next up, we have Bad Boys Part 2, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. Bad Boys Part 2. Next up, we have The Beastmaster Part 2. The Beastmaster Part 2. Beastmaster Part 2. Next up, we have The Abyss. The Abyss. The Abyss. Next up, we have Return of the Jedi. Digital remastered. And it is sealed. Return of the Jedi. Digital remastered. Next up, we have Thunder Warrior Part 2. Thunder Strikes Twice. Thunder Warrior Part 2. And it is a, don't know, it must be a open tab up top. Tab up top. Thunder Warrior Part 2. Next up, we have Striker, a warrior of tomorrow on the highway to hell. Striker. Striker. Never heard of some of these movies. Oh, let's see. Next up, we have Ghost. Whoopi Goldberg, Demi Moore, and Patrick Swayze. Ghost. Ghost. Next up, we have Bird on a Wire with Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn. Bird on a Wire. And that looks like it's a weird thing here. It looks like it's a cut box. I don't know if y'all see this or not. It looks like it's been cut boxed and taped over another blank VHS box. See it? I don't know if y'all see that or not, but that's what it is. It's a cut box, but been over top of another box. Next up, we have the Wild Bunch. The Wild Bunch. That's full-length version, first time on video cassette. The Wild Bunch. The Wild Bunch. Next up, we have You Know My Name, Sam Elliott. You Know My Name with Sam Elliott. Next up, we have a Jean-Claude Van Damme film, Death Warrior. Death Warrant. Death Warrant. Can't talk. Death Warrant. Last but not least, Lethal Weapon Part 1. Lethal Weapon Part 1, last but not least. There you have it, folks. This wraps this segment up. That was the end of the first box. Box number 2 will be on another video. Keep in touch. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, like I said, this wraps this segment up from NDT Collects Wrestling Plus VHS.
This segment was brought to you by NDT Collects Wrestling plus VHS.